Hello, everybody. Dave Neal here, stand-up comic, host of Bachelor Nation News. And, you know, what I love about the show, The Bachelor, the franchise, is that we get a lot of social issues that are brought up on the show that aren't normally discussed, and we use those as sort of talking points to educate ourselves for, like, what's happening in the real world. And in this case, we have a herpes joke that was made on the roast when Russell Peters, the comedian, was hosting a roast battle 2 episodes ago on the show. Now, a joke was made. We're going to play it for you in a second. And then Kira, who is on the current season and a physician and went to Wharton and went to Harvard, and she's a smart lady, right? She knows a thing or two. She's using her platform to sort of educate people, and I think that's a great thing to do. We're going to get into all that. Do me a favor, follow me on Instagram at DNeals, right down there. See my latest reel that was demonetized by Instagram because apparently it's a little too dirty. I didn't realize it was that dirty, but if you want to watch that, you can go check it out on Instagram. It's still live. It's just demonetized. And also don't forget, you can subscribe to my channel. Make sure you're subscribed and hit the like button an odd number of times. We're going to go live at 10 a.m. today on the Patreon if you want bonus content. All right, so we're going to get into what people are saying about this STD joke and then what Kira has to say. So someone's comment was, fine. Clearly it's a personal thing because I'm not ashamed to say I was sexually assaulted and have this as a result. But the STD jokes on the past 2 episodes are glaringly ignorant. People can come under fire for trivializing and attacking those with ADHD, but this type of health issue is acceptable being mocked. Do better, Bachelor. Although, why do I say that? It's taken this show some 2 decades to finally have people of color represented past the first few episodes. Maybe it's just me realizing I've outgrown the franchise and I'm fine with that. Stop the stigma. And, you know, there's obviously a stigma with people that have herpes. It's used as a punchline. And Kira, as she was introduced on the show in her lab jacket, will do her best to educate us about the disease. So let's just hear what she has to say on her Instagram at Kira Mengistu. I'm sorry if I'm butchering that. Here's what she has to say.
Let's talk about herpes.
Shanae is like a herpes outbreak. No matter how hard you try to get rid of her, she keeps coming back and lasting longer than expected.
So Marlena was right about one thing, and that clinical recurrences of herpes are very common. However, she was wrong about the second part in that generally these recurrences are shorter and less severe than the first episode. But let's back it up. So herpes simplex virus is a very common STD that causes small painful blisters on the mouth and on the genitals. See Exhibit A and Exhibit B. Generally speaking, herpes is more annoying than it is dangerous, with the exception of these groups below. And the way we diagnose it is when someone's having an outbreak, we take samples of the blisters and send them for testing. We don't usually test for herpes in asymptomatic individuals during routine STD screens just because of the high false positive rate. And finally, it can easily be treated. Let's talk about herpes.
All right, so there it is. And now Marlena, who made the joke, says, happy you were able to do this. Love you, Dr. K. And she said, thank you for inspiring me. Yeah, how graceful of Dr. K here to not like shame Marlena for going there, but to use it as an excuse to be like, you know what, actually, let's get the facts right about this. And I said, way to start a discussion. And some other people had commented, kind of feel like maybe this isn't something that should be joked about. And then Kira says, I wasn't joking about it. Did it come off that way? No, not at all. Just in the original use in the show. I know it's edited and all, but yeah, I don't like the way The Bachelor has handled the ADHD stuff and now herpes. Yeah, I can see that. I don't think that was Marlena's, who's a very sweet, sensitive person, or the show's intention to hurt anyone with those comments, but I agree they weren't handled as sensitively as they should be. That's the reason why I feel the need to insert this kind of commentary as a member of the medical community. So great for her. And we know actually a few months ago, 8 months ago, Kayla, a former almost bachelorette, former Bachelor contestant, mentioned that she posted a photo and people were like, is that a cold sore? What's going on? And then she commented, for everyone asking about my lip, it's a cold sore. I could have edited it out, but it's real life. They come on from stress, extreme heat, or from a cold. I still feel beautiful, and I feel like I have nothing to hide. I'm not going to let it hold me back from enjoying our honeymoon. So she got a cold sore on our honeymoon. And people had commented, I'll read some of those. I'll keep it anonymous here. Their thoughts on sort of like destigmatizing and having the conversation regarding this STD. Someone said, just wanted to add, I'm probably one of the oldest women on the subreddit. I'm also a member of this unfortunate club since my early 20s. And for all the worrying I did about it and how unlovable it made me, I literally never lost a lover because of it. Got married twice. Once to a negative person, second time to a fellow club member who I am still married to. And yeah, I know I sought out stories of hope when I was at my struggling and anxious lowest. So there's mine. Yeah, I mean, you hate to say it, but there are literally people who take their life over issues like this because they feel like they're unlovable. They feel like they won't be accepted by their parents or friends or lover. And communication is like sunlight is the greatest disinfectant, which we always say. And communication about these issues is better. And what's great about Shanae is she was the butt of this joke, but she didn't cause this one. This one's not on her. For all the issues that Shanae has caused in the house, this one ain't it. But people have said, like rightfully so, hey, if we're not going to accept the mental health shaming, ADHD, why are we going to accept the physical health shaming, which is a virus and STD? And that's a good question. It's great. And again, I lean on the side of letting the show air these things out. Like the show can decide not to include this. Now, last season on Matt James' season, Brittany Galvin was sort of accused of being an escort, which wasn't true, and there was no facts behind the accusation, and the show ran with it. That to me was a blatant sort of exploitation of like an innocent person. That to me did not need to happen because there's no learning experience from that. It's just a slandering somebody, right? In a case like this, there's learning that can be had. There's destigmatizing that can be done for people that have either ADHD or people that have herpes, or for people that might have friends that want to have the conversations around those, right? So it's not just about how you feel and what you have, but people in your community, whether it's a son who has ADHD or a daughter who has herpes or mother, whatever that case is, it's worth having that conversation. And one of the biggest areas of shame that exists in our country, I can't speak for others, but in our country, is sort of this like puritanical, like sex is bad culture. And a sexually transmitted disease can, especially, honestly, herpes, a lot of times they say are transmitted from like, an aunt kissing you when you're a kid, which is, ugh, right? But the idea being that like there's shame related to sex. And then of course there's shame related to STDs. And because of that, some people don't feel like they have a forum or a voice to share their thoughts. And so many people have commented on the threads saying, I thought I was the only one. I thought I was the only one who ever got cold sores. I thought I was the only one who, this happened with. I thought I wasn't picky enough with who I slept with, so then they feel shame about their own sexual life, and so many different issues. And now with the internet, we're able to sort of create communities that can discuss them, but at the same time, for those that don't search that out, they might watch the show, like some said, they watch the show and they go, wow, I felt like a real, what, because herpes was the punchline of a joke. So I can totally understand why people would get upset about that. But like I said, I personally feel like it's a good place that we're at least talking about these issues. And whether or not, this conversation obviously wouldn't have happened if the show didn't air the tasteless joke. Now, let's go back to Kira because she's sharing a bunch of other great stuff over here. So let's go back to some of her other reels. You guys should all give her a follow.
In this last episode, me and a couple of the girls participated in a lifeguard training course, which included lessons on how to react in an emergency situation. So you don't have to be a doctor or healthcare professional to be useful in an emergency situation. If you see someone hurt, remember the 3 C's: check, call, and care. So check means to check the victim as well as the environment to make sure that it's not unsafe. If the environment is unsafe for the victim, try to pull them to safety. Call 911 as soon as possible in order to get trained rescuers on the scene. Also, sometimes a 911 operator can walk you through what you should be doing until the trained rescuers get there. Finally, care.
All right, so you got that one right. Now, and of course, there she is on her lifeguard date that she went on. Yeah, it's funny. She's getting like trained by the lifeguard, even though she's probably got more training than everyone combined. And here is her talking about ADHD.
Hey, it's Dr. Kira, and I want to talk to you about ADHD. So if you watched this week's episode of The Bachelor, you saw that Shanae launched a pretty heinous attack on Elizabeth.
Heinous.
Basically using her ADHD as a weapon.
Your ADHD, or is it me that you have a problem with?
First and foremost, I want to say that it's completely unethical to reveal and use someone else's health information like that. And second, as a healthcare provider, I feel like I should promote a better understanding of the biological underpinnings of ADHD, hence this video. So people with ADHD have difficulty integrating information, forming new memories, and sometimes communicating effectively. And this comes down to differences in brain structure, brain function, and brain chemistry. And I'll go over all three of those.
All right, so the full version of that is available on our TikTok, but isn't this fantastic stuff? All the comments from people are like, oh my gosh, this is everything we needed. Dr. Kira needs her own talk show and all these things. So kudos to her for being just so well-spoken as she sort of is able to give us facts and educate us. Because, as I always say, it comes down to having information and entertainment. And unfortunately for the Bachelor show, they lean on just entertainment, and then the information comes from people having the discussions about all of that. So definitely give her a follow. I really feel like it's important to support those members of Bachelor Nation, those alumni that have, credible information to share. We don't get too many doctors on the show. Why is that? Because they're busy working, but we appreciate her, and go give her a follow. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you have to say about all this. And I guess my question for you guys is, would you rather the Bachelor have edited this out? Or do you think it's good that they kept the herpes joke in, and then we can discuss it and maybe normalize it more? Let me know what you guys think. Would love to hear from you. Next up is the Patreon live stream and more content coming your way. Check out the Dave Neal Show if you want some non-Bachelor related content. We'll see you over there. Bye, everybody.